Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the Sunday League Pundits show. You have myself, Stretch, my good friend off camera, Tin Ribs.
Hello.
And my very good friend on camera, Jim Jam.
I'm back.
He's back with us this week. Is everything all right now?
She's better now.
She's better now. We didn't say what was wrong because we don't want to go into detail. But
No, my wife had a temperature. She's allergic to paracetamol, and her temperature was up to 39.9. So she was
pretty
cooking
high.
a bit. So
It's pretty high. Well,
got sorted.
we're
That's
glad
the
she's
main
better.
thing.
We're glad she's better. Do you have a stat?
I have a stat.
Jim Jam, the stat man.
So last week's stat would have half been. So the first goal of the domestic English season was scored by Adam Armstrong. It was also the last goal of the domestic season, which I thought was quite interesting.
That's a good stat.
So an answer to the other week as well. So 2020 was the last time where 3 different teams won the cups. Because I went back and looked at it, and it actually happens more often than you think. So in 2020, Arsenal won the FA Cup, Man City won the League Cup, and Liverpool won the league. And I think over the last 11 years, I think 5 of them have had 3 different trophy winners as well. So it actually happens more often than not. That there's 3 different ones.
50%, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I'm going to point to here is this one of those moments where people create a stat or they believe something because it's something that you expect. So when you see it, it's like, oh, that's the norm, but it actually isn't.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Because you get it a lot. It's like...
So kind of on camera, so well you can't see it, but so the yellow on there, they're all in different teams that have won it.
There you go, camera's
See
up
if
there.
it, no, you need to go closer than that.
Closer than that.
He's going to have to stand up.
There you go.
But it's
Yeah.
like, you hear them all the time, isn't there? It's like they're on about like song lyrics or famous quotes that don't exist. They never happened. They're not real. And it's like... I think it's one of those because everyone expects Man City to win it or they see them win it so much. It's sort of like when Man United were winning everything in the 90s, early 2000s. It's like, oh yeah, Man United would have blah, 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 blah. And then you start looking into it and they didn't win like the League Cup or they didn't win something. And then sort of like, but it's the idea that one team dominated entirely.
Well, that's the thing. The first Premier League season was 1993. Okay? And everyone, Man United, it's the first trophy in 26 years. Not first trophy, but the first league win in 26 years. Oh, they had the best season. They had this, they had that. We did the double that year.
Yeah.
On the FA Cup and the League Cup. And both times beat Sheffield United.
Yeah. But
Sheffield Wednesday, sorry.
But that's it, and it's like I think there's that sort of point where now because people are so used to expecting Man City to win things and Man City have the best team, blah blah. People just assume that they're going to keep winning doubles, doing this and that. Fact is,
But then they'll
they're
say
not.
this and that and the other. And it's like I've said for so long, when I was on about Granit Xhaka, for example, you can twist stats to look however you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily make it a thing.
And the one other thing as well, which was the other stat, which we'll go to music straight after it because I'll probably go into reaction after as it goes into transfers. 38 million. Arsenal's record transfer fee received.
Yeah.
Very low.
And I know who it is.
Yeah.
So do I. Play the music. Hello and welcome to episode 33. Got a long one, boys. We've got a lot to talk about. And the main topic is City's suing the FA this week. It's been a massive subject. Now, from my best understanding, there are rules and regulations in place regarding sponsorship and, more importantly, sponsoring yourself. Like, Chelsea sponsoring their hotel chain using their own company, etc., etc. Now, what City are trying to say is, effectively, it doesn't go this petty, but I'm going to explain it in a stupid way just to make it easier to understand. Basically, what City is saying, they should be able to sponsor each blade of grass on the pitch for whatever amount they see fit. So if they decide they want to sponsor themselves £1 billion per blade of grass, they should be allowed to do it because it's their company. Therein completely eradicating FFP. Because you can pull in as much money through sponsorship through your own company as you like. Whereas the Premier League are saying, we need rules around this. We need to control it. You can only have up to a certain amount to sponsor your stadium name. You can only have such an amount for each board around the pitch, etc., etc. City are saying we should be allowed to sponsor ourselves for whatever we want.
It just basically finishes the Premier League. If we're allowed to do that, it just finishes it because Newcastle will just go out and spend whatever they want. Chelsea
100%.
will go out and spend what they want. And then the rest of the clubs, unless a billionaire that's got more money than sense comes into another club, they're just going to fall lower and lower behind.
Well, this is what the court case is going to be. Now, one of my big issues, do you know when that court case starts?
Before
Any ideas?
their tribunal?
Bearing in mind, I will say we're recording this on Sunday the 9th. Any ideas when that court case starts? No? Tomorrow. Monday the 10th.
Well,
Do you know when the FFP is heard? Next year.
Yeah.
you know when what else is decided tomorrow? It's the outcome of the whole Girona, because I believe that they're allowed to both play in the Champions League, and they've come up with a solution. And I believe that was decided earlier on in the week, and then it goes into next week, tomorrow.
I think both teams should be allowed to play.
Oh yeah, that's what
They've
they've
both
done.
earned the right to be in there. Let them both be in it.
But it sounds
no
like
problem.
they're letting Man City do what they want, UEFA. I think they must be worried about both teams. But did you know that other teams have had similar boat last season? British teams? So Villa owner had to sell some shares in Victoria, because they were both in the same competition
They've got to
last
sell
year.
people this year
Yeah.
to come back in line with FFP as well.
Yeah.
Along with
Brighton.
Everton and Forest and some other teams.
Brighton's owner had to sell shares in his other club, Union Saint Gilloise. So, and Man United have obviously got to reduce theirs with Nice for
It's
next
crazy,
year.
isn't it?
Otherwise, they have
It's
to
such
be
a tangled
demoted
web.
down to the UEFA Conference.
Such a tangled web. Now, City are using a trigger word when they go to court because they're calling it discrimination, which I think is absolute horseshit. Discrimination. How are they discriminating against you personally when they say nobody in your situation can do this? How is that discrimination against you? The most stupid thing I've ever heard. These are meant to be intelligent people.
So, yes and no, because obviously they're using the whole point that they're the ones being targeted. There are other clubs that are multi-billionaires, for example, Newcastle, Chelsea, so forth. But they're not being direct. There's not thousands and thousands of constant, it's you, you're cheating, you're bribing refs, you're doing this, blah, blah, blah. So
I think Chelsea had it, but not to the same extent because their domination wasn't as
No, I
severe.
agree. But what I'm saying is that's where they're going to pull the discrimination card from. They're saying Chelsea did it a while ago, you didn't bat an eyelid. Newcastle have bought a club, you allowed a sovereign state in despite saying that you weren't allowed to, but you've allowed that. But we can't do this. So they're going to use that. I'm not saying it's right. What I'm saying is they're looking at it from, why are Chelsea allowed to do this? Why are Newcastle allowed to do this? Why are Newcastle allowed to buy a club that despite the fact that the regulations state you can't. But before that, I want to point out that the FA are horrendous at making rules. They're very reactive, not proactive.
Yeah, very much so.
And what the problem they've got is, and I'm going to use the Leeds for the example because it's a perfect example. They did Leeds under the Spygate bollocks, and there was no rules broken.
That was ridiculous.
But there was no rules broken. There was no rules, no
crazy.
laws. There was nothing there. So what they did was they made a law and then fined us a ridiculous sum of money.
But that's my problem with this.
Yeah.
Is because that court case starts tomorrow.
Yep.
And the FFP isn't heard for another 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that the FFP case is not going to be seen retroactively. They're going to see it on this new law.
Absolutely.
So they're going to get away with everything, even though they have broke the law. Do you know what I mean? It's
I like the fact that you've gone down the route of guilty until proven innocent.
No, what I'm going down the road of is you've
just said that they're guilty.
No, they've said that they're guilty. And the reason City have said they're guilty is because they're trying to change the law before their trial is heard. Why would you do that? Why would you have any need to do that?
To put the FA back in their fucking box.
No, it's so you're going to get away with the
Possibly.
FFP that you've broken. So you're trying to change the law before your case is heard. City are telling me that they're guilty.
Yes and no. So, for example, when you got a court case on something, I don't know, like land ownership. Let's go with something completely different. Someone's suing you or trying to get you evicted, right? And they're saying, you haven't paid your rent for 5 months. You can then make a counterclaim to say, well, actually, I'm going to sue you because the reason I haven't paid my rent for 5 months is because I was paying for repairs and upkeep that you were supposed to pay. So I've had to pay that because you didn't. So therefore, I didn't have the money to give you. So I'm going to counter-sue for the money that you owe me.
I understand that point.
So, on that, obviously the FA are going after him. They're seeing something as, okay, you're picking on us, you're coming after us, we're going to counterclaim. The only difference is, rather than piss around and wait for a tribunal, they've gone, all right, we'll do it in court. And they've got the financial power to get all the solicitors and everything they need to get it pushed through quick. This isn't the same as a tribunal. This hasn't got to go through all fucking Tom, Dick and Harry and everything involved. This is them just outright going, we're taking you to court, mate. Just me and you, and we're sitting down. We're going to get a judge. We're going to get this. We're going to pay for the laws, and we're going to pay for it fast.
I, for one, hope the Premier League stick to the guns and go, no, you can only sponsor yourself so much.
I think that's for the good of the game. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
I'm not disputing that, but that's
otherwise you might as well just, for the next 30 years, just hand the trophies to City and Newcastle.
Okay, so here's a question for you. So in a year's time, Man City gets stripped of their titles. Do you want to win the title that way? So you've now won a title. So the season just
they
gone.
wouldn't win it retroactively.
No, they've said they've put that in there.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Whether or not it
doesn't count.
But if he did, how would you feel about it?
It would make no difference because I wouldn't count it as a trophy win.
Yeah,
so it would make
it's
no
how I
odds to me
feel.
at all.
But there's no way Southampton are going to be in that position.
It's not a trophy win.
I'm pretty
But
sure that
if
Liverpool will take it.
If City get sanctioned and say they get demoted 2 or 3 divisions or whatever it is, and then we won the league, yeah, I'd consider that a win because the team that are cheating and breaking the rules and breaking the law have gone.
Yeah.
That's like, what's his name? Armstrong, cyclist?
Yeah.
He got stripped of his titles. Doesn't mean it was given to the next person.
It wasn't. Juventus, when they were stripped, it was given to no one.
It has done in the Olympics, though, when they've
I
stripped
get that
gold medals
they've gone back
away and
given
given goals.
But the cycling one, Lance Armstrong, wasn't it? He cheated. They didn't give his medals then to somebody else.
Yeah.
Same with City.
Yeah.
I just want teams to stick within the laws. And don't get me wrong, if Arsenal have broken the law, punish them. I've got no problem with that.
Guaranteed there's no loyal players at Man City. They're going to stay there when they get demoted 2 or 3 leagues.
Why?
Because they're there for the money, not for the love of the club, like Del Piero,
They can still get the money.
Buffon.
They can still get the money.
Yeah.
They can still win the FA Cup and get into Europe. It's not the end of the world.
You think they'd stay?
Some of them possibly would. Them that are in their 30s.
It'd be interesting to see.
Their team would still be so superior to every
Oh, yeah.
team in the area.
They'd be there within however many leagues it takes to get promoted.
They do Juventus.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's what Juventus did. Juventus got relegated 3 leagues, and within 3 years, they're back up in Serie A.
Yeah.
Pretty much winning fucking everything.
it'd
They
be
done
nice to see
they done the
them-
crime and
But
they
that's the
took
thing.
it and
And then once City are back in the Premier League, as long as they're sticking to the rules, then you'll have no problem with it.
yeah. But I think the right thing to do is to demote them, not just one league.
I don't know, because
multiple.
it depends which rules/laws have been broken. Because if they've broken laws when it comes to fraud, any other company would be wound up. If you get done for hundreds of £1 million worth of fraud, your
Yeah.
company's gone. It's not a case of relegating you. They done.
Liquidation.
I suppose the whole thing, like obviously Matt winding up and all that sort of stuff, you probably like don't really have much sympathy for many clubs now
none whatsoever.
because they've done nothing to help the lower. So why should they help the big teams?
And that's the thing. Our owner, Macclesfield's owner, did something he shouldn't have done. And they got wound up and they've had to start again. Luckily, we were bought by a local businessman, Rob Smethurst, who's basically rebuilt the stadium. You've both been there.
Yeah.
You've both played
Yeah.
at the stadium, so you've seen it. So we got lucky. But then look at the teams. You know, Accrington Stanley, are they still a team now? Or have they gone? Dagenham and Redbridge, do
Dagenham
they
and
still
Redbridge.
exist? Or have they
Rushden
gone?
Diamonds are gone.
Rushden and Diamonds,
Yeah.
there's another one. Gone. Because there was no one there to save them. So we're lucky that there was a guy in Mac that was, by all accounts, bored and needed something new to do. And Mac turned up on Rightmove at 500,000 and he went,
Yeah.
I'm going to buy that. I know Robbie Savage, he'll help
Yeah.
me.
Bury took a while, didn't they? They're
Bury's
only
taken
just
years
coming back.
to come back. Oxford, weren't they done? Because they were Oxford Town, no, Oxford
No,
United,
no,
and now they're Oxford City.
No,
They're
Oxford-
two different teams.
Two different teams.
Oh, they started a
Yeah,
second
yeah.
team. Oh, they are. I thought it was the same
No, I
one.
think there's always been two teams. They're not new.
Okay.
Accrington's still going.
I stand corrected on that one, then. But there are a few teams
Yeah.
that have gone and just don't exist anymore. Hence the reason we've got like Salford City or whatever they're called that have got a space in the league. 'cause
I
there's
used to
teams
like it on Soccer AM when teams played like Rushden and Diamonds, and they used to say they're cheating because they've got to play two teams and stuff like that.
going. Yeah, because there was that meme of when Brighton beat Liverpool, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And there was them pictures of Jurgen Klopp looking really annoyed with a thing on. Well, how do you expect us to win? We're playing Brighton and Hove Albion.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, that's quite funny. I don't like the whole Man City and FFP thing. I think it needs dealing with. For me, it needs dealing with before the season starts. I know it doesn't work like that. I get that. This new case will probably be done before the season starts.
Yeah.
Because it's just City suing the Premier League. It's quite a straightforward case. But the FFP one now, and then you've got to look at it another way as well. Forest and Everton cannot have their sanctions retracted now. They had the points removed, end of story. So if they now change the law, which would have put Forest or Everton the right side of FFP,
Yeah.
they can then sue the Premier League and go, you screwed us over. You took points off us when you shouldn't have done. You've now changed it for City. We expect heavy compensation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's retrospective.
There's a lot to look at. It's not just City, and it's not just this, can we sponsor ourselves for whatever we want? Forest and Everton are both going to be looking at this very closely.
But then it's also the clubs that have who've played it fairly as well and gone, we played it fairly, and now you're letting a team not play it fairly, change the rules.
Can't
They
do
could go on.
retrospective. Can't do retrospective. If we had played retrospective, Aston Villa would have got relegated, not Sheffield United. You can't do retrospective. So, rule change, doesn't matter. I mean, let's go, again, I can use a Leeds example because it's one fresh in my mind. First season up, Liverpool beat us purely because of a bullshit decision. The ball hits Cox's leg, goes up into his hand, handball, penalty. Within 3 weeks, they've changed the rule.
Yeah, they did.
But we didn't get the point or anything back for it. There was no retrospectiveness to it. It's a case of, oh shit, old rules. Oh well, deal with it.
Yeah,
so
it's
unfortunately, they can watch it all they fucking like. They'll get nothing from it.
Well, we had that when we played Villa. I think it was Matt Cash. He stopped the ball with his hand from going in, deliberately played the ball. Not a penalty because it took a slight deflection on his knee on the way through.
Yeah.
So if he said, oh, the distance is
but if
not...
it had been on the rule,
even though he'd actually made the movement and deliberate, it was like, joke. But I suppose a quick one now. VAR staying. 19 out of 20 clubs voted to keep it.
I bet I know who the one who didn't.
Well, it'd be stupid if he didn't.
But the thing that bothers me about that the most is they've accepted it on the proviso that they stick to the rule changes they've said they're going to bring in.
Yeah.
Again, how can you do that?
They just want consistency.
Yeah, but you've agreed to it before the rule changes. That's like politicians. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. So you go, okay, we'll vote you in. They don't do it. So the VAR changes probably won't do shit.
They might already have a manifesto. They might have actually handed out a manifesto saying these are the changes.
I don't think they're bright enough.
Yeah.
With the issues they've got at the minute, I genuinely don't think they're bright enough to even think about it. It's just crazy. It's beyond me, really. But the latest ones that we've heard, which is why I think there's something not quite right with the 115. Pep wants out, by all accounts. Rodri, De Bruyne, and Edison all looking for the door, which is the latest rumours that I've heard and the latest things that I've read. So if they're all looking for the door, there's got to be a reason for that.
Who's reporting these, though?
It's on several different things. You've got Ornstein on Twitter, who is mainly Arsenal, but he does dive into other things. And there's
loads. We got to realise is, when they say never believe everything you see on Facebook. When I give my rumours, they all come from what are renowned as credible people from Leeds side of things, like Phil Hay. The guy's literally got his foot in Ellen Road and hears everything, and he reports on everything. Then you've got other people who, what's his name? That agent, not agent. He's always Romero. What is it? Romero, wherever, isn't it? You know what I'm on about.
Yeah.
When he says something, when he says something, you go, oh, hang on, what's he saying? Because he knows things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Ornstein isn't wrong very often.
That's the one.
Ornstein's not wrong very often.
Is he not? I don't know who he is.
He's, like I say,
but
he focuses mainly on Arsenal.
But what I'm saying is that's why I'm asking you, because there's so many people throwing shit out there.
No, Ornstein's pretty good. Like I say, he focuses mainly on Arsenal, but he does dive into other things. And obviously with the 115 being such a massive thing at the minute, it's one of the main things. Also, let's move on a little bit, because it's getting a little tiresome. Keep going on about the 115, isn't it?
Yeah.
Michael Elise, Crystal Palace, is being looked at by
a few clubs, I imagine.
Arsenal, I know we're looking at him, as well as Benjamin Sesko.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
I don't know
I've not heard of him,
about Sesko. So. I've seen a bit here and there. I don't know a lot about Sesko, so personally I'd still rather have Watkins or Isaac, because I know that they know the Premier League. Elise, fantastic player. I'd love to have him.
Yeah. You've got the other link as well, haven't you? The Napoli striker, Osin Mem as well. Yeah.
Osin Mem.
He's going to cost a bit if you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's never played in the Premier League. I don't know if he's going. He could come in and be horrendous. He could be the next Nicholas Bentner as far as the Premier League's concerned. We don't want that.
So, last week you mentioned Adam Lallana.
He listened.
Oh my God, he did.
He listened to the pod.
So I left that alone. So obviously I did message you while I was listening. I did message a few things, but I did keep a few things back. So what do I think of that rumour?
I don't know, but I'm just going to say I'm so glad I'm sat down because I fell over in that one.
It depends what he's coming in the club for.
I would imagine a squad player.
Got to be a bench player, looking more towards a coaching role, which he was half doing at Brighton anyway.
That's what I
At
said.
that
I think
point,
that's what he wants to do, isn't it? He wants, as far as I'm aware, it was squad player with the possibility of moving on to the backroom staff later on.
he's got some work to do because he didn't leave in the best way.
See,
He's got a lot of hate.
Remember that.
He got a lot of hate, and he gets a lot of stick when he come back. He kind of left for Liverpool, didn't leave in the best way.
It's brave coming back then.
Kind of said that he's a fan of Bournemouth rather than Southampton, and then went to Brighton.
Wow.
So he's got a lot of bridges to make up. But Bednarak did the same thing when he went to Villa. He didn't leave in a very good way, but he come back after his loan. He got recalled, and he's played really well since then. So he's probably earned it back. So players can do it.
Fickle
So-
short-term memory.
So yeah, I'm okay with it, but not if he wants to be starting or anything like that, because
I'm not
it's
sure
not
if
going to
he'll
work.
demand a starting place, to be honest.
And I do believe it, because Sports Republic come out and said what they got wrong the first year in the Prem. We bought a load of youth players, and we had no experience. And he kind of, in an interview, said that they made some mistakes. They bought youth, but they didn't have enough experience to go with it. So I see that as a good experience in there with Lallana. He's done a lot, but he's not the only former player that we've been linked with. We're getting linked with Jose Fonte, Danny Ings, and it's
Danny
kind of
Ings-
like,
Danny Ings, I don't think would be the worst signing in the world. I think he's a decent striker.
yeah,
Fonte, I haven't seen any of him since he left Southampton, so I don't know what sort of state, condition / like mindset.
he won
he's in
like
now.
League One
Oh, so he's
with
doing right then.
whatever. I can't remember which club it was. It might have been Lyon, I think. The year that Paris Saint-Germain didn't win it.
Oh, when
He went and
Pochettino
did
was
it.
there.
Yeah. But no, so Che Adams is linked away. He can go. He wasn't good enough for us the first time in the Premier League. He didn't exactly set the Championship on fire. So I don't get why we're looking at a player that didn't want to sign a new contract with us. Why are we even offering him a new contract when he clearly wants to go?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd let him go.
And you know the striker that I'd take? Brozier.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah, because he came on loan and he was superb, and I think the money stopped us
Do you
from
not want
signing him.
Nketiah?
No.
That Brozier, the only reason I don't think he's gone anywhere is because City just want too much for him.
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
You even got it right the first time. But no, I'd take
There's
Brozier.
a reason they want too much money for him.
Because they need to
The
fucking balance the
£300
books.
billion they've spent on shy players. That is something I wanted to bring up, actually, while we're on it.
While he's looking, but he knows the club as well.
Hmm.
He didn't leave on
I
bad
think he's a
terms.
great
The fans liked him. I think he's a better striker than Che Adams.
Far better. Complete different class.
I'm hoping that Adam Armstrong can kick off what a successful year he had in the Championship and do it in the Prem this time, because he didn't have the best time.
Do you think...
Or is he another good Championship
that's what I was about to
striker?
say. Do you think he slots in that category with the likes of Pookie and Gale, where they're phenomenal
Yeah.
in the Championship, but when it comes to stepping up in the Premiership,
You
they
bought
just
one as
don't
well,
have it?
didn't you? The year you went up, you bought a striker. I can't remember who it was. You paid quite a bit, like 15 million for him.
I don't remember Pookie being horrendous in the Premier League.
I think
No.
it was
It was
single
decent.
figures, weren't it?
Hmm?
Single figures, I think.
I didn't think he was.
I might have to
thought
have a
he was
look
more.
and see.
I'll have to check that.
Kind of think who that player was. Ross, I think, isn't it? Ross something.
I've actually a bit lost here because I remember buying Rodrigo, record signing, and he.
Because this was when you were in the Championship. It was the year you were in the Championship, and I think you went up. You bought a player. I think he came from Fulham, maybe.
I was going to say, about the one that played a few games for us and we're still paying for him right now.
Who knows? I'll look into it and come back.
Right, the comments we got from last week, because we mentioned Bruno Guimaraes being linked with Arsenal for 100 million.
Waste of money.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even given the comments that we got, I still think 100 million is joke of the week.
Yeah.
So what we said was, I said to you, what would you value Bruno Guimaraes at? Now apparently they bought him for 45 million, not 35 million.
Okay.
Which is what
too much money.
This one, they're insane if they think Bruno is only worth 40 to 50 million. We didn't say that. We said 45 to 50.
Yeah.
There you go. They're insane if they think Bruno is only worth 40 to 50 million. They're putting him in the same bracket as Calvin Phillips, to which I responded, not at all. Phillips is at least 15 million less. And we got another one from, surprisingly, a Newcastle fan. I got that because his profile pictures the Newcastle badge. In case anyone's wondering. Double it, and you're still not there. Which basically means that this Newcastle fan, I'm not going to read his name out, but this Newcastle fan thinks Bruno Guimaraes is twice the player Declan Rice is, and almost twice the player Bellingham is. I don't think you're anywhere near it, mate.
When they say the term rose-tinted goggles?
100%.
Yeah.
My response was, he is nowhere near Bellingham or Rice. What happens when you spend 100 million on one player who is worth only 50-ish? Ask Chelsea. That was my response.
Also asks City, Grealish, 100 million, really?
To be honest, he was on fire not long ago. They just bought Doku, who I personally don't think is as good as Grealish, and is getting more money. I think if they played Grealish, I think he's a great player.
I don't think he's 100 million, though.
I think we're going to talk about Grealish in the second half.
I think he's worth 100 million if you've got 700 billion in your bank account. I don't think it matters because they just splash the cash, don't they?
No, it doesn't matter how much you've got. My point is he a 100 million pound player?
For me, no. But
exactly, no.
But then I'd probably still put him at 80. I still think he's better. I still think he's a better signing than Bruno would be. Given the right club, I think it's only the fact that City have that many players of quality that he's struggling and not getting the game time that he'd get at another club.
I'd take Grealish.
How much would Arsenal pay from you if you were in charge? If you were Edu and you're going for Grealish,
I'd offer him 60.
That's the ballpark I was thinking.
60, 65 if they played hardball, but not much more than that.
Yeah.
Maybe do an exchange with somebody if they were interested in, Zinchenko or fucking Jesus back. Right, we're going to wrap up the first half, and I'm just going to read a quote that I read this week that I thought was great. In 4 years, England's national games have moved from Sky Sports to BBC One to ITV to Channel 4. Carry on playing like this, and we'll be watching the World Cup on Dave. We'll see you in the second half. Hello and welcome back from the break. We're going to go into a couple of transfer rumours that we've all heard, some things that we want to talk about, and then we're going to go into the main subjects coming up, which is going to be international football.
England.
There you go. Yes, Jim Jam has come in his England shirt today. The better England shirt as well, I will say that.
1996.
Yeah, it was a great year. Napoli have confirmed Conte as their gaffer. Good, bad, indifferent, don't care because it's Italian football.
Oh,
it's a good move for them.
Yeah.
Good move for Napoli.
Napoli, I'm for him.
Let's put it this way. Napoli did the Leicester and won the league not last year's, this season, but season before. And they have a good fan base, so employing a coach who is a winner, unless he goes to Tottenham, is not a bad shout.
Can't hold that against him. Mourinho, who
Mate,
apparently
no
is
one
a
goes-
serial winner.
No one goes to Tottenham to win anything.
Well, they don't, because let's face it, Mourinho went there to win a trophy, got to a final and got sacked. So Levy really doesn't want to win anything.
Yeah.
That's too
Barely
close to winning.
gets to a final, out the door.
Yeah.
Barcelona want Liverpool's Luis Diaz.
I'd let him go. If I was Liverpool, because I've heard even like Carragher even say that Luis Diaz is not world class. They say he's a good player, but not a world class player, and he feels like Liverpool should have a world class attack.
I hate that term.
What,
World-class.
world class?
Yeah. So bandied around so freely.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if there's
If
a
your
full
name is
team
not
of 11.
if your name is not in the Ballon d'Or honours list, are you really world class? I mean,
No.
that's supposed to be the best of the best.
Yeah, of course it is.
So anyone that isn't in that like top 10, really, I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
just-
can you class a Ballon d'Or? Because, I mean, over the last few years, that's obviously a rigged award.
okay. If you're rigging the winner, you still have to populate it with 20 people in a shortlist.
Yeah.
So of that 20 people, even if you've rigged the winner, those 20 people are still technically the best in their field.
I do agree with that, though.
So realistically, for me, it's just such a branded. Oh, he's world class. He's world class. He's world class. Half of them just aren't. They're just really not. There are so many players that people brand world class that just not near it.
I would agree. I would
Yeah.
agree completely.
I mean, even like Ferguson came out and said he only played with, what was it, 3 world-class players or something like that, and he like listed a load of players.
And shamed as well.
Yeah.
He did name and shame. He went, these are the 3. All the others were just good.
Yep, and he's right. But he's right. And the fact of the matter is, it's just, these days, anyone who shows any form of promise, world class. Sorry, no.
Well, there we go.
So, again, Jamie Carragher's right in the sense that Luis Diaz isn't world class. But, and it's going to piss off a lot of Liverpool fans, is anybody in the Liverpool team world class? Anyone.
I would put Van Dijk maybe borderline.
The only reason he's saying that is because Van
Yeah.
Dijk played for Southampton.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
Because
He was one of the
Van Dijk-
best centre-backs.
For 12 months. He was only one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League for a season.
I'd give him more than a season.
maybe
I don't
two.
think I would.
Maybe 2.
Maybe a season and a half, though.
Yeah. But he's it's like Salah. Salah is not the player he was 3 years ago. 3 years
Agreed.
ago, Salah was phenomenal.
Yep.
And I'm not going to use the term
Salah's
world-class.
not the player he was a year ago.
That's my point. So,
You got to give him 3 years. I'm giving him 1.
yeah, but my point stands. Carragher's going on about they should have a world-class...
Oh,
Fucking
look at that.
phone.
You know what? He guaranteed, he said, oh, put it on Do Not Disturb.
Does that say do not disturb?
Still went off, dickhead.
Yeah.
Do you know why it went off? Because I've forgotten that I set an alarm. Because otherwise Daisy won't go to bed. So I've set her alarm to get her ready.
Yeah,
And I forgot to turn that off.
But yeah,
I knew there'd be something.
I'm glad that you've not failed to disappoint again.
Jesus Christ.
so...
I'm not bringing my
You know what?
phone
We're going to
down.
have to start doing a competition for listeners and viewers.
Yeah, what
to,
minute
to
is my
put a
phone
minute,
gonna
like a
go off?
timestamp on when
What's going
Stretch's phone's going to go off. So
Yeah.
anyway, as I was saying, so if we stretch the terminology a lot and say that 3 years ago Salah was world class, right? Name one other person in the Liverpool team that you could even stretch that comment to.
Well, Liverpool fans will name the entire roster.
Yeah, I'm on about
Because
people with
that's
a
what they
brain.
do. Oh, right, okay. You get the odd one saying Van Dijk, because probably 3 years ago you could potentially have stuck him in that bracket for 12 months.
A lot will say Gerrard. And you could argue a case for that one. Unless you're basing it on trophies, and then you're not.
I mean, he's still won a fair few trophies.
Mm-hmm. Champions League.
He won the Champions League, the FA Cup, the League Cup.
Yeah.
But then you have the whole debate: Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard, who was the better. And I'm sorry, I'd rank Scholes, Lampard,
Scholes is
Gerrard,
head and shoulders above the other two.
So I'd name him third out of them three.
Yeah, I would. Gerrard,
Yeah, I would
Gerrard
as well.
for me is third in that ranking. But and as we're going back, at this moment, do Liverpool have any players you can even put remotely near the bracket of world class?
Keeper's probably top 5. Whether that makes him world class or not is up for debate. But he's the only one, really.
Yeah. So Carragher going that Liverpool should have a world class attack is just sprouting absolute shit as always.
Well, maybe they should. I think Arsenal should have a world class attack. It doesn't mean we've got one. We've got bloody Havertz and Nketiah and Jesus.
Yeah.
It's probably because, like you say, they throw the term world class out very easily.
Far too
Yeah.
easily.
What other one gets thrown about too easily? Legend. Oh, he's a legend. Jesus Christ.
So the term legend, though, does it refer to ability? For me,
Not necessarily,
Yeah, I was
because
about to
I
say.
would say that Franny Benali is a Saints legend.
A Saints legend, not
Yeah.
a footballing legend.
See, even I said that term. He's a Saints legend.
That's what I mean.
that's what I mean. Though.
Like,
So
I would turn around and I would say that Ray Parlour is an Arsenal legend. That doesn't mean he's a footballing legend, but he's an Arsenal legend. I love Ray Parlour. But you don't get that off other people. They'll just go, Salah's a legend. Is he? Why? Scored a few goals.
Because he'll throw a few Leeds ones out.
Yeah, but he'll say a Leeds legend.
Yeah.
It's when people just say, he is a legend. No, probably not.
You've probably got very few that are a legend.
I don't think
in the
FIFA's
game.
helped coming out with legend cards, because some of them are definitely not
yeah,
legends.
but that's just a money spinner.
Of course it is, but it's not helping the youth of today determine what a legend is.
Legend basically means you don't play anymore. That's
No,
what them cards are.
Here's one for you.
Oh.
Totti. Is he a legend or is he a Roma legend?
I'd say he's an Italian legend.
An Italian legend, is he?
I
There's
like
something
that.
different. I like that.
I like that
I
as
actually
well.
would agree with that
Because
as well.
he's actually
Yeah.
a legend for club and country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree
So
with
that could push possibly the term legend.
I would call him a full on.
If you're
Legend.
representing your country and you're of a significant level, I mean, Totti wasn't just, another player who's played for his country. Totti was the man for Italy. He's in the ranks of Zola.
Like Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So
I'm on about the real Ronaldo.
Yeah, R9.
Yeah.
R9. He's a legend. Because he's done it at every level. And
Anyone that saw
Yeah.
that guy. If you saw that guy play football with a knackered knee, Jesus.
he was unreal.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he's a player who, unfortunately, Ronaldo is named with the same as R7, Cristiano Ronaldo, and a lot of the youth today will know only Cristiano.
Yeah.
But there are still young children out there who, when you say Ronaldo, R9, or you just say R9, they know
No.
who you're on about. They've never
yeah,
seen
but that's because of FIFA and the legend card, because people know
No?
R9
I think
on the
it's
game.
maybe
Because when the
parents
card
pushing as
turns, they will go, "I've got R9."
I disagree. I wouldn't say
There's
it's
a
just
card.
for the FIFA.
Definitely.
I never saw Pele play. I know that bloke is an absolute legend. The only game I ever saw Pele play was in the film The Great Escape. Not The Great Escape. Escape to Victory.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've seen him play football. But I know who he is. His name. He's a renowned player. His accolades are just through the roof. That's a legend. And there probably are a few players on the planet at the moment who are still playing who you could put that to.
I think just because of goals and longevity, you would have to put Messi and
Absolutely.
R7 in it.
Absolutely. Both of them.
Because the impact they've had on the game, on the youth, on future generations.
And this is where I'm going to mention a name that he's going to cream off. Because I think in that term, we have to put Beckham. because what he has done for football,
100%.
He took that out of my head because
It
he was a
literally
player I was thinking of.
Completely.
it supersedes his playing.
Yeah.
He's elevated football. He's an ambassador. He's a club owner. He's just that's a legend.
A legend of the game,
Yes,
like as a whole as well, and I'd agree with
yeah.
that.
But for example, Gary Kelly, who played for Leeds his entire career, will be a club legend. He's not a legend. I love the bloke, but he's not a footballing legend.
No, that's fair enough. Right, moving on. Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, and again, same name, Barcelona, want City's Julian Alvarez. Do you think he should move?
Yes.
He could easily move because
I
he's
think
not going to play the minutes that he wants as long as Haaland
that's
is
the
there.
thing. He is a world class. No, I mean,
He's
he's a great
exceptional.
striker,
He's
and he
exceptional.
should be playing full games.
He's Argentina's #1 striker,
And he is good.
and he's on the bench. Sorry, he's got to move.
Yeah,
For him.
I'd agree.
For
Well,
national. For
I'd
everything.
take him.
To be fair, he's not necessarily always on the bench. He's played out of position now
Yeah, but again, that's
because
not a
they're
good thing.
Yeah,
accommodating.
but I hate
Yeah,
when
the
they
game
play players
shouldn't
out of
be doing
position.
It's like when Arsenal put Jesus on the wing. Just put a winger on. Put Nelson on. Put Trossard on. Or
But that's
whatever.
what some clubs do. You've got
Madness.
a player that they know they've
Madness.
got to play and they can't. So absolutely.
I think Alvarez needs to move to get more minutes in his natural position. Because I think he deserves it. I think he's a great player.
Yeah.
But I think I'd like to see him. He'd be one that I'd like to see at Arsenal. I think he'd do absolutely amazing job at Arsenal, Alvarez.
I
Can't see
don't
it
think
happening.
they'll
I don't
let him
think
go.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to let their only title challenge.
There's a reason they let you have Jesus.
Oh, I'm learning that. I was dead happy with them signings for a while.
Kieran Tierney. Linked away. Are you disappointed?
Yes.
Because it looks like he's the better one out of the three choices that they had.
Definitely.
I had an image
Definitely.
on there which had the stats, so I'll just...
Don't need the stats. I can tell you from watching them,
Hmm.
Tierney's the best left back we've got at the club.
Because what he did was he went Tierney, Zinchenko and Digny. Because they're
how can you
linking
add
that.
Zinchenko? He's barely a footballer, let alone a left back.
So, 20 games Tierney's played this season. 2 assists, same as Zinchenko. But Zinchenko's played 7 games more. Cross has completed 6. Zinchenko's only done 5 crosses. And that's your left back, and your
He's
left
always in
backs
centre
now. The modern game now, your left back, your full backs are putting crosses into the box. 50 tackles, 22 blocks. I mean, for me, Tierney's a better player.
Or
Or do you go out and buy another
the
left
only thing I will
back?
say is when Jurriën Timber started the season, he was outstanding for the minutes that he played. Really good. But I still don't want to see Tierney go because I think he's a great player. I know he's injury prone, but we've got Jurriën Timber, who I'm hoping isn't injury prone, and it was just
That was a
a
nasty
one-off,
So you're
nasty.
all for selling Agent Zinchenko.
100%. Jesus needs to go. Nketiah needs to go. Nelson probably needs to go because he doesn't get the minutes. There's quite a few actually that I would get out the door. Raya shouldn't be signed.
I saw little links that we were linked with Smith Rowe. I'd love that. He won't come to us.
On loan or transfer?
I think it was a transfer.
I don't want to see that. If he's going to go on loan to Southampton and you're going to play him, happy days because he's fantastic.
I'd take him on loan for a year.
He's a great player. Great player. I believe it's your ex-player that now maybe wants to leave Madrid. Is Rodrigo yours?
Yeah, he was one of us.
Yeah, someone says he wants to leave now.
I thought he went to Saudi Arabia.
Rodrigo?
No, he definitely went to Rafinha. That's who you're thinking of, who went
Oh,
Barcelona.
No, he's at Barcelona. There's one. It just said Rodrigo's unsure about his future.
No,
at
it won't
Real
be,
Madrid
be
because
ours.
of
There's about
Mbappe.
8 Rodrigos.
What they all
The
say.
Rodrigo we had, he went to Qatar or something.
Oh, there you go. I just saw the name and remembered Rodrigo playing for Leeds. But yeah, he's unsure on his Real Madrid future because Mbappe signed.
Oh, that's a different. Yeah, that's a different Rodrigo.
Manu want Sporting midfielder Morten Hjulmand. Can't say I've ever heard of him, but they're willing to spend 70 million on him.
This sounds like another Anthony.
Yeah.
So I don't know who that is. I've never heard of him, but that is a lot of money.
He'll be in. I mean, it's hard to say because obviously Højlund is actually a really good player, but he'll be another one of these Scandinavian players that, because they're hearing Man United are coming in, are going, how much is it worth? 20. We want 100.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And it's, yeah.
Fulham's Andreas Pereira is wanted by Spurs.
He's a quality player.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
right.
I think
good.
he's a great player. I think
If
he's
he
a
wants
really
to
good
win
player.
something, he needs to not go to Tottenham.
Well, Spurs seems a pretty poor choice, doesn't it?
Well, Spurs won Eze as well.
Yes. have
I
heard that
honestly
one.
think with the way Crystal Palace performed in the back half of the season, well, the last couple of months.
They were so good.
Yeah, I can see him getting ripped to pieces. Because Crystal Palace haven't got a pot to piss in.
Mm.
And if people are coming in with decent bids for these players, they'll
They're
take
going
it.
to accept them.
Oh, of course.
So they're a team that could be now looking to break the top 10 very easily with the team that they've got right now. Sell all them, they're going to be in that relegation bracket, but probably finish like 15th.
You say that, but they could do like a Brighton, sell their good players for an extortionate amount of money, and then recruit lower cost, better players.
It depends whether you've.
There's
got
only
that
so
sort
long
of-
you can do it for.
It depends whether you've got that sort of team that
No,
can find them players.
And you've also
doesn't
got to
it?
have the right scouting network. So, for example, again, I know I'm using Leeds a lot as examples, but it's just easy to do. We had Victor Orta. He was very hit and miss with his transfers. But look at some of the players he did bring in. Rafinha, 17 million. No one had heard of him.
Horrendous.
No one had
joking, he's
heard
a
of
great player.
word. No one even knew who he was. Then Barcelona come in for 52 million.
It's not bad going,
That's
is
profit.
it?
Yeah.
It's not bad going.
And then my favourite, Anonto, 1.3, which then went up to, was it 2.5 with the add-ons? We're going to make money on him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it can be done.
Of course it can.
But then you've always got the other side of the coin where you buy
Arsenal.
a bunch of fucking useless twats who...
Arsenal.
No,
Arsenal
Leeds
buy players and then give them away.
did. Yeah.
Hence the reason.
Your record is
on
38
maximum
million.
38, which I believe was
Oxlade.
Chamberlain
Yeah.
to
Yes, it is.
Liverpool.
Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Liverpool are.
Which would be
The most profitable sale I've ever made as well.
Oh yeah, because well, he was pretty cheap for us, wasn't
I think you got him on a good deal.
he? I would say so. Liverpool apparently is set to ask 20 million for their goalkeeper.
Their sub.
Yeah.
I
Who's
think,
in? Do they want to trade for Melee?
I
Meslier.
think.
I would take him for Meslier.
I think 20 million
That's a
is
steal.
quite low for him.
That's
because
an
he
I'd
played-
quite happily take him for 20 million. I
He
think.
played really well.
Yeah.
It's definitely somebody you should be looking at.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
Chelsea are knocking on the door apparently for Meslier. So if we sell Meslier, can we have him because he is fucking
To
class?
be fair, I'm hoping we signed David Brooks and his mate Hagrid.
Hagrid.
Hagrid, yeah. For those that don't know,
I know.
there was a fancy dress
At the,
at the playoff final
Yeah.
supporting his mate David Brooks. That
Who's-
would be
Oh, yeah, that Aaron
Aaron
Ramsdale.
Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't want Ramsdale.
Apparently,
to go.
that's
I
a
know he's
thing
going
that
to.
when any of their group of mates go in, they turn up to the games in fancy dress. I did know that was happening during the game as well. I did see somebody tweet going, "Is this Ramsdale in disguise?" And then it actually turned out like a couple hours
think
after
that's
the
great,
game,
to
it
be honest.
actually was him.
Arsenal have set their sights on Douglas Luiz from Villa.
Yeah,
What a player.
What value would you put on him?
42.
42?
Probably go 60 because I'd probably say he's higher than Bruno.
Not with Villa having to sell.
Right. 60 is the figure that's been put on it.
Fucking hell.
Whether Arsenal will knock that down or not.
I'm
Depends
thinking
on
with
Eddie.
Villa having to sell, they're not going to get... Because sharks and water, isn't it? As soon as a club's in some sort of financial trouble,
Yeah.
the money's shaved off.
The thing
immediately.
is,
Yeah, of
they
course it
shouldn't
is.
be in financial trouble. In the Champions League, they should have extra money
And they've got one of
going
the
in.
richest owners in the world.
It just depends how badly your club's run, doesn't it?
They've
Yeah.
got one of the richest owners in the world.
So they've overstretched.
Of course they have.
But
Yeah.
because of the financial play.
As of tomorrow, when City get a court, might not
all
matter
change.
anyway.
Yeah.
They might be able to ask 100 and not care.
Yeah.
Napoli apparently want, is it Dragazin? What's his name? That Spurs have only just signed.
Oh, the defender who played at the back.
Dragazin? Yeah.
He looked quite good.
I think he looked really good. But apparently Napoli want him because Dragazin is demanding more minutes because he hasn't played enough,
Or he wants to have a chance of winning trophies.
or he wants to. That's meant to be my job, is having to go to Tottenham, and he does it more often than I do.
See, the thing is, that's the second time you brought Napoli up, trying to buy very solid, good players. They've just signed a world-class manager. I'm going to use that term because he's an absolute winner.
Not Tottenham.
I just don't.
You a closet
know what?
Arsenal fan?
You know
I'm
what?
just thinking, why are you so slow?
I just genuinely don't think even Alex Ferguson could have won at Tottenham.
What? Now that's a statement and a half. That is.
But I think Serie A really is the most... It seems to be the most competitive league because next season, who's going to win the league? Because you could go, is it AC? Is it Inter? Is it Napoli? Is it Roma? Is it Juventus?
I don't think Roma are in the question.
Yeah, because you can basically go through it, can't you? Scotland, Celtic, England, City, France, Paris. You go Germany, depending if they sell
It'll
Kane,
probably be Bayern.
if they sell
Okay.
Kane, it'll be Bayern. If they keep Kane, it'll be somebody else.
Turkey, Galatasaray, pretty much.
You can pretty
I
much
think
just
Fenerbahce.
you can pretty much just say. I
They,
reckon
they lost the league with 99 points. They did a Liverpool because Galatasaray got 102.
Yeah, but they've just had Mourinho as their
I know,
manager.
yeah. They probably will win it next year.
he needs time to settle in, doesn't he? Right.
Though Mason Greenwood doesn't want to go to Fenerbahce.
No, he doesn't.
He's going somewhere. Unfortunately, he can't play in this country because he would be absolutely brutalised in this
Depends how
country.
thick-skinned he is.
Of course it does, because you've had a few, haven't you?
Yeah. David
Come
Beckham
out.
was absolutely ripped to pieces after the...
Slightly
It took a
different.
long yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure comparing Mason Greenwood's assault and rape charges to Beckham kicking. Was it Simeone in the knee?
Yeah.
I really don't think they're comparable. I mean, you could maybe do Adam Johnson, who came out and played football again.
I didn't know Adam Johnson played
He
again.
definitely didn't come out and play football
Ah.
again,
He
surely.
signed for a lower league team.
No, I
No,
think you're
thinking
of Chad
Lee
Evans,
Hughes, maybe. Chad Evans, yeah.
Chad Evans, that's the
who
one.
was innocent, may
Yeah.
we add.
But apparently, so is Greenwood,
Exactly, but so...
because he wasn't done.
But that's my point. We've got
So it's
this
the
thing.
same situation.
But Chad Evans plays.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think, yes, so Greenwood
Good player,
could go into a lot of clubs and make them better. He'd do well for us.
You do well for any...
But
Bottom
do you
half,
want
yeah.
the image?
But this is the problem. He's meant to be an innocent man, whether he is or not.
No,
I'm
we're
not putting
no.
my thoughts on this.
No, we're not... That's what
I'm
I'm
just
not, I'm not
saying-
saying we're choosing a
By
side.
the law of the land,
Yeah.
wherever way you want to see it, his accuser came out and said, "I don't want any more part of it. We're not doing it anymore. He's fine." What are you meant to do? The guy's innocent as far as the law of the land is concerned. So, for me, he's got to be given a chance if somebody wants him. Because, it's just the way the law works, isn't it? It's the way
I guess we'll see.
She shouldn't have accused him and then retracted the statement. She should have just gone through with it or not bothered in the first place. Anyway, let's move on swiftly to England.
Yes.
Yay. What I would
I've
like to
watched-
point out...
As a shock, I watched friendlies.
I didn't, but what I would like to do, before we get into it, into the squad, into our thoughts, into this quick little note that I've made, is last time we got beat by Iceland, a better Iceland team that we've just been beaten by, the manager was sacked. Why is Southgate so fucking special?
Why can't history repeat itself? Please.
Unfortunately, they're not going to sack a manager going into the tournament. And I think the biggest mistake that he made is it might have been good for the players. He announced the 7 that will go into that he let go. But he did it before the game.
And Stones
So
got
then
injured.
at that point, all the players that played in that game know that, okay, I'm in the squad now and I don't want to get injured,
Apart from Stones,
apart from Stones.
who did get injured. And now we can't replace him because he's already named a squad.
He could have replaced him at that point because he had up to midnight or 11
It's
p.m. So he
insanity,
could have
isn't it?
swapped him at that point.
Maybe it's not that severe then.
But so I'm not going to go too much into losing to Iceland. There were reasons we should have done better against them. And the thing that annoys me the most, so I'll talk about the Bosnia game. There was one player in particular that was absolutely outstanding in the role that we know that we want him to play in midfield, is Trent.
Yeah, he was very good.
And he was so good that game. He was pinging balls across, got his goal, looked absolutely superb. So what Southgate gone and done? He's gone back, dropped defenders from his team and basically put Trent back in a defensive role.
Doesn't make any sense, does it? But then he is the most defensive England manager I've ever known in my life.
But that Bosnia game, wow, the players really wanted it because there were certain players that stood out in that game. Eze, superb. Conor
I
Gallagher.
think so.
Gallagher was superb in that game.
I think Gallagher's a good player anyway.
Cole Palmer played well enough.
Out of position.
Wharton, superb when he come on.
I think he was good. From the
Um,
highlights that I've seen.
Conser, he was really good at the back.
I've only seen a couple of his highlights. Obviously, I didn't watch the whole game.
All I'm hearing is these players were really good. These players won't be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done enough to, and literally these players play. So like Trent played in the midfield, played absolutely outstanding
Which
to
is
the
where
point,
we've all said he
to
should
the
be playing.
point of he was that good. He pretty much should have earned himself a spot in the starting lineup in the first game in midfield,
Maybe he
literally putting competition for places, and then obviously he comes on at right back against Iceland. And granted, he was the best player again. When he come on, he created more chances in his 25 minutes or whatever when he come on and was the best player. So another player that was really good when he came on was Jack Grealish, who was superb. He made the chance for Trent's goal, which was well taken, and provided something different. Now, when we were struggling against Iceland with 10 minutes to go, that game was crying out for a Jack Grealish to come on and change the game. So I know before it started and we talked about Jack Grealish shouldn't have been named in the squad and stuff like that. But then I look at it and go, you know what? We actually need a player like that to come off the bench. So for me, he probably should have stayed because of what he can do. Although he's not a starter, he should be on that bench to provide something different because there's too many similar players. Gordon and Saka are exactly the same type of player. They should start because Gordon played well in his first half. He really wanted it. So I thought Bowen was okay. I think he did quite well He didn't do anything great, and he really put the effort in. I thought Watkins was quite poor, actually.
I thought he was quite poor. I don't know whether the occasion's getting to him, whether the fact that it's England that's getting to him, or whether there's some unknown pressures there, or whether he's just going onto the pitch thinking it doesn't matter whether I score 20, I'm still not going to go ahead of Harry anyway.
Or he's just used to playing good tactics from a good manager rather than useless shit that is Southgate.
Yeah. So,
actually don't disagree.
Tony, I thought he didn't really do a lot, but I felt his impact was a little bit more than Watkins did. Maybe. So I felt that maybe Grealish probably should have been in, and maybe Tony maybe not going.
I would agree.
So the other player that I was shocked about was Branthwaite, with how good a season he had.
I thought he would have been a banker.
I was shocked they dropped him.
Now, watching the game that he played, he was quite erratic. He kind of run around like it was his first ever game, so you're going to be excited. And whether or not he saw that when he played, because he got a booking, because he went in and he was kind of like committed a foul. It wasn't exactly a pretty one. He went in and hit him, but he looked like he was charging around a bit and looked like a bull in a china shop, and maybe he's seen that.
Desperate to impress.
But I don't think Dunk really does enough. So I'd have probably taken Branthwaite for his experience, because I think he just deserved it. But all I can think is that part of the game as to why he may have got dropped.
Yeah, maybe.
Quansah
I do think he
didn't get any minutes, so I'm not surprised that he got dropped. Madison was the first player to be dropped from the squad.
Axed. Yeah,
completely agree with it. I thought his performance when he come on, I thought he was one of the worst players to come on in that friendly against Bosnia. He didn't do enough for me. Where all the other players, I said earlier on a few minutes ago, he played really well, he played really well, he played really well.
Is this just Jim Jam's Tottenham hating coming out in the England squad?
Well, do I not like Madison because he went to Leicester instead of Southampton when we were both bidding for him?
There you go.
But no, I do like him. I think Madison is a good player, but for me, it was the right decision for him to be dropped. I agree with Jones. Yeah. Maguire definitely would have gone, but he's obviously not fit, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So at that point, once Maguire was gone, why has he got rid of Branthwaite as a centre-back? Because now we're really limited. And I know I wrote down loads of minutes on my piece of paper here, and it's like Jack Grealish only played 1,000 minutes of football in the Premier League last season. You know, and you're talking Declan Rice played the most, I think it was, at 3,230. So Declan Rice played 3 times more Premier League football than Jack Grealish.
It's a lot.
You know, Conor Gallagher, he played 3,000. Jared Bowen, he played 3,000. You know, Foden, he's played 2,800 minutes. These are not including the cup competitions that they're in.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of players. But Luke Shaw's gone. He's only played 962 minutes, and he didn't feature in any of the friendlies.
Can't Gahey play left back as well from Palace?
But Trippier played well at left back.
Decent, but
so he didn't need the risk of Luke Shaw. So if he wanted to, he could have dropped Luke Shaw from the squad and took Jack Grealish to provide that something different. You know, John Stones, he's only played 1,000 minutes of football this year, and there's no question him going in the squad. So why are you questioning Jack Grealish, who's played 1,000 minutes?
Well, I've already said
Are they not fresher?
I'd take Jack at Arsenal. I think he's a great player, and I do think he adds something different. We are going to have to wrap it up fairly soon, but I did want to just mention who was voted best player in Spain this year. Any ideas? Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
Who was voted best player in Germany this season?
Harry
Kane. And who was best player in the Premier League this year?
Phil Foden.
If England do not win the Euros when we've dominated Europe, absolute joke. Because you've also got the performances this season of Kyle Walker, Saka, Declan Rice. Bowen's been superb. Some absolutely outstanding performances from some outstanding players. We should be winning. And if we go to penalties, we've taken Harry Kane, penalty taker. Saka, penalty taker.
Cole Palmer,
penalty taker. Ivan Toney, penalty taker. We should not be struggling the way we normally struggle with penalties. Now, I'd have sacked Southgate as he was walking off the pitch from the Iceland game, given the performances against Bosnia and Iceland, because I think they were embarrassing.
I'd have sacked Southgate after we lost to Croatia.
I mean, if I'm honest, I'd have sacked him years and years ago, but I think us going into a Euros again with such a, I'll say it as it is, boring defensive manager, it's going to be painful to watch again.
I'll say it now. If we win the Euros, I still want him sacked.
You know he's going to be knighted if he wins the Euros, right?
Yeah, but if he wins the Euros, I still want him sacked because there's no way he can take us to World Club glory.
I honestly think there's more chance of platting piss than there is him winning the Euros.
I think
He'd just win it just to piss us off and make us happy at the same time.
To piss us off. What a comment that is.
That might be the title.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have so little interest in England at the moment that I didn't watch any of the friendlies. And when we got off the pitch on Friday and I got in the car and I found out we were 1-0 down already, and I listened to a little bit on the 10-minute drive out, and I was just like, I'm not even putting this shit on.
You mean you were exactly the same on Friday? I got it on in the car on the way home. And I was listening. I said to Ethan, I'm not even going to bother. Because it doesn't sound fun. Crap.
I used to love watching England. Absolutely loved it.
Me too.
And now I'm just like, it's like, okay, so let's go through this, right? Euro 96, I cried my eyes out when we lost to Germany.
I've got to say it was probably the first time I cried over a game of football.
Yeah. 98, I cried my eyes out. Grew up a little bit. I still got upset. You know, I was sort of like, I'd have to have my minute just sitting there, just gutted. Now, I'm just like, I'm waiting to lose. I expect us to lose.
I think a lot of people are like that.
I have no enthusiasm for the game whatsoever anymore. As a kid, I loved the international games.
Is that an age thing, or is that the fact that the football's shine now?
Even under Capello and everything, I still sort of
God, he was
got
dull
behind.
as well, wasn't he?
He was dull,
Jesus.
but I still got behind the team. Now I just don't.
The FA have got some real weird ideas of what makes a
Who
good
was your
manager,
last
haven't they?
favourite England? Like, who was your last England manager you liked?
Sam Allardyce.
100% win record, yeah.
No, I've got to be honest, and the way I feel about it, you know yourself, I was crying for years for Sam to be England manager. And I'm not going to lie, I wholeheartedly believe, had they not screwed him over, we would have won one of these tournaments with Big Sam in charge.
I think it was either going to be Big Sam or it was going to be Harry Redknapp.
His interviews would have been genius. But I think Big Sam, I think we'd have won something. Genuinely, I believe it.
Tell you, might have won something for Neil Warnock.
I quite like his attitude. I don't know if he'd have stepped up, but I would have liked to have seen it. I'd have liked to have seen it.
We basically need a manager that's not a yes man to the FA.
Mike Bassett. Bring him in.
But seriously, other than Allardyce, like, what was your last tournament where you liked the manager and you wanted...
Bobby.
Oh, I've got things I can throw at you here.
Bobby. I like Bobby.
You're going all the way back to the 80s?
Yeah.
So
I'm going
so
with
you
at
haven't
least
had,
Venables
you didn't
in
like
96,
Venables.
didn't you?
I'm not a fan of Venables at all.
So no one. See, I liked Venables.
I didn't.
I love the 96 team.
I thought the team were all right, but they
Hoddle?
still didn't do what they should have done.
Hoddle?
He was
He
a
was
dick.
what a bell end.
He just
spiritualist and let's get out. Get out.
he literally ruined Gaza.
Yeah.
100%.
He didn't take Letitia after he was playing
just-
phenomenal.
I'm not arguing. I'm just asking.
I know.
I'm trying to figure out who. If
No,
there's-
we're putting the argument forward. Hoddle was the biggest bell end we've ever had in charge of England.
who was after that? Sven?
I mean,
Again, dull, boring.
the problem with me, England managers should be English.
100%. England manager should always and only be an Englishman,
Okay.
even if he is a massive, boring loser. I'd still prefer Southgate over.
So you liked
Hello,
Steve
or-
McLaren then, yeah?
Again, at least he was English. That's about the only positive thing I can say about
So
Steve
seriously, the
McLaren.
last time you liked a manager was Bobby.
Well, before Sam, yeah. Yeah, Bobby Robson.
Fucking hell.
What a guy.
Yeah, he was good.
What a guy.
I was
Yeah,
okay
Bobby
with
Robson.
Southgate going into Croatia.
I was like, well, we'll give him a chance. We'll see how it goes. The football was
So
a
I did
little
back
drab.
that tournament fully.
Yeah, the
I
first
enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I didn't think we played amazingly well. I didn't think our opponents were of any particular skill level, but what we needed
That's
to
why
do,
we should have got to the final.
100%.
Every single tournament where they're lauding Southgate, we've not played anybody of substance until we get to the point
Even
where we get knocked
Germany,
out.
that was a poor German side we faced.
It was.
Poor German side.
Absolutely.
And okay, it was a decent Croatian team we faced, but they weren't on our level.
But that's
We
my
still
point.
managed to lose it.
Everybody knows they were there for the
Italy.
taking.
Italy,
They were poor.
not on our
Italy are
level.
horrendous now.
Not on our level. I mean, as much as he tried to take Saka's face off with his shirt, like.
But that's exactly what I want an England player to do in that position.
Yeah,
I
but they're
don't-
not gonna,
I
are
don't-
they?
Yeah, that's
I don't
proper
fault
pitchcraft,
him
that
for
is.
doing it. I'm not bothered that he
No,
pulled him.
I'm
for
annoyed it
attack.
wasn't pulled up. I think
Yeah.
it should have been pulled up. But the fact that he did it just to say to Saka, "You're in a game, yeah, mate." I've got no issue with that.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed it wasn't pulled up. But we still should have beat him anyway. Because we were by far the better team. It's like we score a goal and Southgate just goes, right, okay, stop now.
But
Flat
what
back
annoyed-
11.
The thing that annoyed me the most.
He can't
about
this
that-
time because we've got no defence. There's no
He would, he
experience there.
He still will.
Right, this is this is the level of his intelligence. He's gone into the final with the team that have scored the most goals in the tournament. We score in the 3rd minute and he's gone, right, next 87 plus minutes, we're going to defend. Against the team that scored more goals than anyone else. How fucking retarded are you? Everybody knows after you score a goal, your head goes down, right? Plough into them. You've got 3-4 minutes to really set into them. If you can set into them within 3 minutes of scoring, you can put them really in the downer.
Yeah. Because it's also the period where you're most likely going to concede a goal as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our thoughts for this week. No doubt there'll be more news next week coming from all sorts of
Yeah, well, next
sources.
week we'll have actually had our first game of the Euros.
No.
No, not us.
Will
I mean,
be-
like, the Euros will have kicked off.
That's it for this week. And we shall see you beautiful people next time.